Also, I'm told that Photoshop brushes are ready to be imported into CSP as is.
Hey, what is up guys, Jake here, and welcome back to a new video. Now today we are saying goodbye to Photoshop. So I've been using Photoshop for the past, 11 years? So I've been using it since I was 10 years old. And I've been using it since CS 5.5 Extended, I think was the first version I've downloaded. Well, illegally. Because back then, Photoshop was not obtainable via a subscription. You had to get a perpetual license, and those cost a lot of money. I think Photoshop used to be $600 or more if you wanted to own a license. And as you can imagine, being a 10-year-old, I was not able to afford that, so I resorted to, well, illegal means. But nevertheless, I used Photoshop back then just for video thumbnails because back then I used to do videos as well. So I did video thumbnails, I used to do some silly photos, very bad image editing, and so on. I just used to have a lot of fun using that program. And then when I finally got into drawing, a few years later, it was my art program of choice because of the variety of brushes you could get. And basically every artist I knew used Photoshop. Now, since I was already familiar with the software, it was only the logical choice. And I have used a lot of other art programs such as Clip Studio Paint and Paint Tool Sai and Krita, but for some reason I just never found myself enjoying those programs because of how the brushes felt, or because I couldn't get a certain feature that I used a lot in Photoshop. And overall, I just tend to enjoy using Photoshop a lot more for drawing. And that's why I've been using it for drawing for 6 years now. But in the past, I'd say 4 to 5 months, Photoshop has been unexplainably, but like terribly buggy for me. I had a glitch where if I used spacebar to pan around my screen, if I were to go to the right, it would bounce me to the left. If I were to zoom, it would start freaking out and zoom either way too far out or way too far in, even though I move maybe my pen for a pixel. There was a glitch where if I tried to save my progress, it would say that there was an error saving my file. So I had to close the program, lose my progress against my will, and just do it all over again. And that happened very frequently. I had problems with the program being very sluggish, even though I have a very beefy computer. Even though it's not up to date, I have, like from 3 years ago, the top end parts. But the program just got very sluggish, even if I didn't use a lot of layers or a terribly high resolution. And would also just crash for the most random reasons. I could go on for days about all the problems that I've had in the past months using Photoshop. And it just got to a point where it was actually tiring and frustrating. And I told myself multiple times, if Clip Studio Paint could just have like a way to import Photoshop brushes with no hassle or no like very sketchy workarounds, I would switch to it immediately. Because it's basically the exact same program as Photoshop with less image editing features, because this is strictly an art program and Photoshop is technically an image manipulation software. Not really art software, but most people use it for that anyway. And since a few days ago, I learned that you could import Photoshop brushes into Clip Studio Paint very easily and even open Photoshop files seamlessly. I just immediately canceled my Creative Cloud subscription and bought Clip Studio Paint. And looking at the price, actually Clip Studio Paint was on sale, but I bought it a day after the sale, which kind of pissed me off, but it doesn't really matter because buying Clip Studio Paint at full price is the equivalent of 3 months of paying for a Photoshop subscription, just the program itself. So after 3 months, I'm gonna start saving money. The only thing that I'm gonna miss, and it's a very minor thing, but something that I am gonna miss a lot about Photoshop is the liquify tool, because there is not like an official liquify tool in Clip Studio Paint, at least not yet. But I have some workarounds for that. I can use the smudge brush with like 100% color stretch to move things around, or like vary the color stretch and the softness to push things, just to like adjust proportions on my drawings. And also there is the mesh transformation tool, which is basically like the warp feature in Photoshop, which works sort of the same as like morphing your drawing. I don't know how to explain it, but you see me doing it in the speed paint going on in the background a few times. So that is about the only thing that I'm kind of peeved about that Clip Studio Paint doesn't have, but other than that, I've been enjoying the software a lot. It is very lightweight. So far I've not encountered any bugs, but I know that is inevitable, but it's very lightweight and fast. It basically has all the features I need, and I can use my Photoshop brushes in there. So yeah, these are my thoughts on Clip Studio Paint and my reasoning for why I am now dropping Photoshop. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you wish to see the full speed paint of the drawing that I'm working on right now, you can check out my Patreon in the description. Just be mindful that you need to be 18 years or older to access it, because there is some NSFW content on there. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.